Hello, lovelies. My name is Oslin, and today we're going to be doing a little random bookish rambling type of video. I have a library haul, and then after that, I'm going to be doing the A to Z book tag. So hopefully you get to know me a little bit better through that. Oh my goodness, you got another one? You can come this way. Here, go this way. Just step over, please. Thank you. Thank you, sir, with an agile little boy. If you can hear my dog chewing in the background, he's chewing in the background. So for the A to Z book tag, I really tried to not pick like duplicate books because I don't have like a ton to choose from, but I did pretty good. So I'm gonna start the library haul with the books that my boyfriend got from the library. He got 2 cookbooks because he likes to write down the recipes that he wants to try and not waste money on buying cookbooks. So we got Recipes from the World of Tolkien by Robert Tousley Anderson. I don't know how to say that. And then Tasting History by Max Miller with Anne Volkwine. I don't know. What does this guy do?
He's a YouTuber.
Like a history YouTuber?
Yes, he makes historical recipes.
Oh, that's his whole channel?
Yes. His Tasting History.
Oh. Okay, so the book is named after his channel, and he makes historical recipes on his YouTube channel. And then he got The Year 1000 by Valerie Hansen. And this one's about Vikings? It's about the Vikings. He's a history man. And those are all the books that he got. So I got 1 nonfiction. I got Witchcraft, A History and 13 Trials by Marian Gibson. And so obviously this is about like not all of, but like many different witch trials and witch hunts throughout history. And obviously like it talks about the Salem witch trials, but I think the point of it is to talk about the other witch hunts. So I'm very excited for that one. And then you wanted to read that one too, right?
Which one?
The Witchcraft?
Oh, yes.
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 My boyfriend wants to read that one too, but I picked it out. And then I got 3 romances and a horror. So I'll start with the horror. I got Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. And I got Guillotine last time we went to the library, and I loved it so much. I loved Delilah S. Dawson's writing in that. So hopefully I like Bloom too. And it's so beautiful. If I like it, I'm definitely buying my own copy. Look at it.
Ooh, yes. Oh my goodness. Love the size of it too.
Yes. And it's only like 202 pages. So this one is about a woman who has only ever dated men in her life, but she meets a woman that she is very intrigued by at a farmer's market, and this is following their relationship getting really weird. And then I got 2 romances that my boyfriend picked out for me. He picked out A Daring Man by Lee Greenwood, which is a cowboy romance, but it's not a small town cowboy romance because it takes place in San Francisco. But the male main character is from Texas, and he's like a Texas cowboy. You know, cowboy romance. And then he picked out The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. And this one, it's interesting that he picked this one because I was really interested in An Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by the same author like a few months ago. But I never actually got it because I was only interested in it based on the cover. But this one is a romance about witches, basically. I don't think I even read the synopsis of this. Yeah, whatever. Typical witch romantasy, I guess. And then the last one that I got is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. And this one is a contemporary romance about two single parents. And I'm really excited. It's going to be my first Kennedy Ryan. I've heard this one's really good. And that was all that I got from the library. So now we can get into my A to Z book tag, which I'm pretty excited for. If you have not seen an A to Z book tag before, it's a bunch of questions about books, and the letter of each question correlates to a letter of the alphabet. So, the first question is, author you've read most. And that one, I literally don't even have to think about it. It's Stephen King. I've read probably 12 to 15 Stephen King books across my whole life. And I have read, I think 6 or 7 since I got back into reading. I have a very up and down, love-hate, hit-or-miss relationship with Stephen King. And I think, honestly, all the books that I already have of his are, like, the majority of the books of his that I will enjoy. Like, I want to read all of the books that take place in Castle Rock, Maine. Just, I don't know, I think it's cool that the town has other stories in it. But yeah, when Stephen King hits, he really hits. And when he misses, he really misses. Whatever. Next question. B for best sequel. And this one was hard for me because I, like, made a point to avoid reading series last year. I don't know why. I just, like, didn't want to commit myself to reading a whole series, I guess. So, pretty much the only sequels that I have read recently are manga sequels. So for this one, I chose Volume 2 of Monster. And obviously I can't tell you what this one is about, but the general story of Monster is we're following a surgeon, I believe, named Dr. Tenma. And, like, pretty early in his career, this set of twins, I don't remember what happened to them. Something happened to them and he saved their lives. And that basically kicked off this whole chain of events where one of the kids becomes a crazy murderer person and is stalking him. It's really good. I tried to get into the anime, but they only have a sub version of the anime on Netflix, and I just did not have the attention span for it. So I decided to read the manga instead. It's going very well. But I can never find the 3rd volume at Barnes & Noble. Anyway, next question. C for current read. Fourth Wing. I'm like halfway through. I'm hoping to finish it tonight or tomorrow. I am enjoying this much more than I thought I would. And I think part of the reason that I'm enjoying it is I'm actually the target audience. I think a lot of people that are reading this book and having issues with it are, like, in the mid-30s age range, and I just don't think that Fourth Wing is written for people of a more mature age demographic. Like, and 30 isn't even more mature. It's just, like, the main character of this is 18, and it's meant to be relatable to younger adults, but it's not young adult. And my first impression of this in the first, like, 100 pages was, like, it's basically Divergent with dragons. But the dragons are such a huge pivotal part of it that it really does not feel similar to Divergent, other than just, like, there's different, like, groups that people are sorted into once they reach adulthood and choose their job. They're, like, stuck to that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Alright. D is drink of choice while reading. And I find this to be a little bit weird of a question. I don't know. I drink water and Red Bull, and that's, like, all I ever drink, so. Next question. E-reader or physical? You would have to pry physical books out of my cold, dead hands. I will never stop reading physical books. I love my Kobo, and I'm so glad that I bought it, but it just doesn't compare to, like, Like, even the experience of, like, highlighting things in the Kobo, it just does not hit the same as highlighting on an actual page with a real highlighter. I don't know. You'll never beat it. Alright, F is for fictional character I would have dated in high school. And this one was also hard for me because I had bad taste in high school. And I haven't read that many romances. But if I had to pick, I would probably say the high school version of Ford Grant from Wild Love. He was like very awkward and nerdy, but he was like very caring, I guess, to Rosie in their teenage years, and I just think that is so cute. I love Ford Grant at all ages. Glad I gave this book a chance for G. That one, I picked The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. This one is like a coming-of-age series of vignettes, and they're written very poetically. Sandra Cisneros is a poet, normally. And I believe this book is taught in schools in some places. But it's so good. That was never a part of my school experience before I dropped out. It's about a Latina girl growing up poor in Chicago. Okay. H is for hidden gem. And I don't have either of these physically, but I chose two for this. The first one is one that I finished really recently. It's The Love of My Life by Rosie Walsh. That book literally has like 6,000 reviews on Storygraph, and I think maybe like 60,000 on Goodreads. So not super well known. But I think Storygraph recommended it to me like months ago, and I just finally got around to reading it on my Kobo, and it was so good. Oh my god. The twist was really effective for me, and I feel like I can't talk that much about it because it'll be spoiling it. But if you want a thriller that is not super suspenseful, but the twist will literally turn the entire story upside down on its head, read The Love of My Life. And then the next one would be The Dead Guy Next Door by Lucy Score. And I say that one specifically because it has literally 10 times less reviews than her popular series, Things We Left Behind, or whatever the hell that series is called. Yeah, it's like super unknown compared to that other series, which literally almost has 1 million reviews on Goodreads. It's really good. I haven't read Things We Left Behind or any of those ones, but from what I've heard of it, I think The Dead Guy Next Door and the whole what was her name? Riley Thorne. The Riley Thorne series seems like it'll be much better. I've only read the first one, but... Next question is I for important moment in my reading life. For this one, it's kind of weird, but I said when I read Insurgent and did not like it. I really loved Divergent when I was a teenager. Like, I loved Divergent more than The Hunger Games. I was in the minority with that, but I loved that book when I read it. And then I read Insurgent, and I was just like, oh, that didn't really go in the direction I would have hoped it would go. I think that Divergent would have been served a lot better if it was a standalone. I don't think it was helped by having 2 sequels. And I say that that is an important moment in my reading life because I think it's important to allow yourself to dislike the sequel to a book that you really, really love. And just like being able to accept that I didn't like a book that I was really expecting to love when I was not very old. J is for just finished. I just finished one of the worst books I've ever experienced in my life. I finished the audiobook for A House at the Bottom of a Lake by Josh Mallerman, like yesterday, 2 days ago. It was horrible. It was so bad. I don't know if my experience was like ruined by the fact that I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook narrators were both really not good, and there was no need to have two of them in a, I think, 200-page novella. I'm gonna get into it a lot more. I'm gonna rant about this book in my monthly wrap-up, but it was horrible. It was really bad. I did not like it at all. But yeah, I'll leave that rant for my wrap-up. K is for kind of books I won't read. And I struggled a lot to come up with an answer for this. I don't think that there's really anything that I would just flat out refuse to read, ever. Especially not, like, a wide, general group of things. Like, I can pretty confidently say that, like, I'm never gonna read Haunting Adeline. But, like, that's not a type of book, you know? I guess maybe, like, middle grade? That really is never gonna appeal to me, but then I have The Hobbit, and I'm planning on reading The Hobbit, which is middle grade, so I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that. I don't even refuse to read Animal Cruelty. Like, I mean, obviously, Cujo is one of my favorite books, and yeah, there's very few things I will refuse to read, but I just thought of something. Splatterpunk. I will not read Splatterpunk for anything. I don't think that there's any reason or need for me to ever consume that, and especially not any authors like Erin Beauregard. I'm never gonna read an Erin Beauregard book, ever. So, yeah, I guess Splatterpunk, and specifically Erin Beauregard. You would have to pay me thousands of dollars to read an Erin Beauregard book. Longest book read. This one, without a doubt, without question, without even needing to think about it, is The Stand, the complete and uncut edition. The next longest book that I've ever read is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. And that one is almost 300 pages shorter than this one. So this one's 1,100 and, like, it might actually be 1,000. No, it's 1,150-ish pages, which is crazy. I actually still currently cannot believe that I read this entire fucking brick. But it was a good experience. It wasn't what I expected it to be, because I saw a lot of people on Reddit calling it like the scariest book ever, and it literally was not scary at all. Like, it's a character study about the different ways that people cope with apocalypse, basically. Like, it literally is not scary at all. But it's a great character study. And I like the world building, I guess, of the apocalypse. Like, I like that apocalypse from The Stand a lot. Major book hangover from, I think this one, I don't know. I don't really know what a book hangover means. But I kind of interpreted it as like it was a good experience reading it, but you just like couldn't get over it after, I guess. I don't really know. But for this one I chose, I picked two different ones for this one. So the first one that I chose is The Troop by Nick Cutter. And this one, I say that I had a book hangover from it because I was genuinely horrified by this book, and I was scared that I was gonna get worms for literally like 2 months after. It was horrible. And I work at a dog daycare, and around the time after I finished this book, a dog had worms at my work, and it was genuinely horrifying. And like every time that I felt like my stomach like bubbling or it hurt a little bit or anything, I was like, oh my god, I have worms. So yeah, that one stuck with me for a minute. And then I guess like my other definition of that would just be like the emotional impact of it stuck with me for a while. I really don't know how to interpret this question. Like, Does it mean books that put you into a slump? But I feel like book hangover implies that the book was good. You just... I don't know what this question is. But Pet Sematary would be my other option because this one is so sad. And, like, it stuck with me real good. It's a very good depiction of grief and what grief can do to your mind. Alright. N is for number of bookshelves. Just one. I need to get another one soon, but I don't know exactly where I would want to put it, and I don't need a new one, so it's not really my priority. I do keep my books that I've read throughout the month up here for my wrap-up, but that's just to make it easier for my wrap-up. I have a whole stack of my read books behind my bedroom door. One book I've read multiple times. Like I said, I tried not to choose like a repeat answer for this, which in that case, if I was choosing repeat answers, it would have been Divergent, because I definitely read that before and after I watched the movie. But my next choice would be The Hunger Games. I haven't reread a book since I like got back into reading, but I definitely read The Hunger Games like several times as an adolescent. And I got the pretty deluxe sprayed edges editions. They're so beautiful. But yeah, I think I've only read that twice, probably. Maybe 3. I do know I did like a project for English class about The Hunger Games, so I definitely read it twice. Preferred place to read. In the summer, I really like bringing a blanket outside and sitting outside to read. Vast majority of my reading is done sitting on my bed, which is really bad for my posture. Q is for quote that inspires / makes you emotional. And I like never wrote down quotes or anything like that before this, and I only started annotating my books like a month ago, so I don't have a lot of quotes front of mind, but I have been writing down quotes from the romance books that I've been reading in my reading journal. So I'm gonna read the quote that I wrote down for Reckless. And this is a long quote, and if you haven't read Reckless, I would recommend skipping this because it's very cute and sweet, and contextually, I think it's good if you don't know what's coming. It's not like a groundbreaking line or anything, it's just really sweet, and I like it. So, skip ahead if you don't want Reckless by Elsie Silver, quote spoiler. And it's Winter speaking to Theo. She says, "You have to freak out with me because I need you, and I love you. I love you so much it paralyzes me to think of carrying on without you. You're not allowed to shut me out because you made me need you, and now you have to deal with the consequences." Oh my god. The context makes it a lot better. But it's just so... I love Winter and Theo so much. My next question. Reading regret. Obviously, the easy answer would be to say A House at the Bottom of a Lake, because I fucking hated that book. But my next choice would be You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. And I was just ranting about this book to my boyfriend like last night or 2 days ago. Literally one of the dumbest books I've ever read in my life. Almost all the way through, it's like decent, and then the end is just like, what the fuck were you thinking, Geneva? What is this? So I'm gonna spoil the fuck out of it. I'm gonna talk about it because I will have no other opportunity ever to talk about this book. So basically, you're following this woman that is going on a vacation to like a small rural southern town. Don't know why she'd be going there, but she's staying in an Airbnb, and it's an Airbnb where like the host lives in the house and you just rent out a room from the house while the host is there, living there. You would never catch me fucking dead renting an Airbnb with that situation. Anyway, so the whole time, like, the woman is, like, getting creeped out by this Airbnb host, and, like, there's, like, these little signs that he's, like, kind of a creep, but then she's also, like, flirting with him, and they, like, have sex, and they start, like, he's, like, introducing her to his, like, family and everyone in the town and shit, and it's weird. And, like, people in the town are, like, one old woman in the town is, like, you need to get the fuck out of here, like, you shouldn't have come here. Whoa, she said the title of the book. And then everyone else in the town is like, oh, that old lady, she's crazy. She hasn't been taking her meds for, like, months. Don't listen to her. So she listens to all of them. And then basically just, like, weird events happen. And then the woman, the main character, is... I don't remember why, but she's, like, snooping around his shed or something. And she finds his paper notebook ledger where the guests of the Airbnb sign in and out with a pen and paper. Why would they ever do that? That's what the app is for. That doesn't make sense. So she finds it, and she finds, like, the last entry on the ledger is a woman's name, and there's no checkout date. And she's like, oh, this is sketchy, and I already thought this guy was, like, a murderer. So I don't remember if she finds that girl on the property or not. I read this book a little bit ago, so I don't remember, like, every plot point, but I'm almost certain the woman from the ledger was being held captive on his property, and she, like, found him, or her, or she found her dead body, something like that. So she's, like, super sketched out and wants to leave, whether she found the body or not, I don't fucking know. But she's trying to leave, but her car won't start. So she asks the Airbnb host to fix her car. What? Okay, so then he's fixing her car, but the implication is that he's actually tampering with it because he's a creep murderer, whatever. So then, our main character kills him first. And the big reveal is that she was a serial killer this whole time. And she went to stay at this Airbnb specifically to kill this guy. But there's no, like, nothing in the story implies that, like, she knew that this guy was a killer beforehand and she was targeting him specifically for that. Like, it wasn't like a Dexter thing. She just, like, happened to find a weirdo killer while she's also a weirdo killer. And the worst part, you remember how I told you that she was hooking up with this guy. She has a fucking husband at home. She has a husband and daughter at home. And then, like, literally, I think this is the last line in the book. She says, next year, I think I'm going to bring my little 12-year-old daughter with me on my murder vacation. Why? Like, I don't understand any part of this book or why it happened. I don't know, and I don't know why anyone is reading any more of Geneva Rose's books. I feel like that was, like, the worst book I've ever read, and I feel like people just keep hating her new books. So I don't know why y'all keep giving her money, but yeah, I regret reading that. It gave me nothing. I didn't take anything from it besides that I fucking hated that book. And it could have been better if, like, she had actually taken a Dexter angle on it, and, like, the main character actually knew that this guy was a creep killer and she went there specifically to target him. And, like, I think it even would have been fine if they were, like, flirting and she was, like, basically leading him on, telling him that she was going to be with him just to, like, make him follow into it more. But the fact that she actually had sex with him while she has a husband back home, like, why? It's just so, ugh. Alright. After that rant, my next question is series I've started and still need to finish. Like I said, I literally did not start a single series last year. I've only started series this year. So my obvious answer for this is the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. And this one's not even complete. I don't know how many books she's planning on writing in this series, if she even has like a long-term plan for it like that. But I know that she's definitely at least writing a 4th book. So, yeah. I also have the Chestnut Springs series I really need to finish, but I'm kind of putting that off. I want to read it like after I've read some of my other backlog books. Alright, 3 all-time faves. This one was hard for me, but I think I did narrow it down. I wanted to choose 2 runner-ups as well. I'll go with the 3. So the first one is Lone Women by Victor Laval. This one is, it's like a historical horror. It's very suspenseful, and I love it. I haven't read any other of Victor Lavalle's books. Let me know if I should read, I think it's The Changeling by him. And then my next one is Real Americans by Rachel Khong, and this is the first like literary fiction I ever read, and it is so beautiful. I love the prose, and I connected a lot with the mom and the son in this story. It's following a woman and her son, but most of the timeline following the woman is like in the past when she was pregnant with and had just birthed her son. The past timeline is like, I'm pretty sure it's like right before Y2K, which is very fun. And then my last one, I've been talking about like every video, every day, all the time. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I love this book so much. I love it. It is so clear throughout the entire thing that like Grady Hendrix was consulting women. He was consulting women that went to the homes for wayward girls. He was like, he did not write this just out of his own impression of what he thinks that pregnancy and teenage motherhood is like. Like, obviously I haven't experienced teenage pregnancy, but like, I was forgetting that a man wrote this book while I was reading it, and I think it's very good. I actually resent the mindset that men just should not write about women's things ever at all. I don't like that. This book is really good, and he did a good job. So yeah, those are my 3 favorites. If you're curious, my runner-ups would have been Confessions by Kane Minato and Black Mouth by Ronald Malfi. Alright. U is for Unapologetic Fangirl 4. And I don't feel like I'm like a fangirl for that many authors. The only one really that I could say is Elsie Silver. I literally have been like stalking her social media and her website waiting for Wildside to come out. But I still need to read Wild Eyes. So I think I might bump it up the TBR a little bit because I did not realize Wildside is coming out in like a week and a half. It's going to be like a few days from when I post this video. That's crazy. It was just January. Anyway, yeah, Unapologetic Fangirl for Elsie Silver, but I don't know why I would have ever needed to apologize for that. Very excited for this release. I literally just mentioned it. Wildside by Elsie Silver. I can't wait. That one is front of mind because it's coming out in like 10 days, but I am not very good at paying attention to upcoming book releases if they're not literally about to come out. So yeah, that's my one answer. Alright. W is for worst reading habits. I would say probably like compulsively checking how many pages I have left in the chapter and how many pages I have left in the book Literally every like 2 pages I will flip through and see when the next chapter starts, and I don't even know why I do this. Like, it's not like I'm like dreading continuing the story and I just want it to be over with or anything like that. Like, I do it more with books that I am loving. I don't know why. X, I hate this question. It's X marks the spot, the 27th book on your bookshelf. And this one is up to interpretation. This is my second time filming this video, so I already did it. And the 27th one is Needful Things by Stephen King, if we go left to right, top to bottom. I don't know what the point of that question is. Y is for your latest book purchase, and lucky me, last time I bought a book, I only bought one. Can you believe it? I went to Target and I only bought one book. And it's beautiful. It's The Stars Are Dying by Chloe C. Piñaranda. It's so beautiful. The end pages are like gold, glittery foil, and the sprayed edges are so gorgeous. Like, incredible. And the best part, this was the last special edition in the store. Like, they had a bunch of the normal ones with like non-sprayed edges, and this was the last one. So I had to get it. Also, the actual hardcover, as with many of these deluxe editions, is beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan of this style of character art, but I still think it's really nice to like have a reference for what I should be picturing, because I'm not very good at visualizing things. And then the back says, "When falls night, the world will drown in starlight." It's so beautiful. It's so pretty. Like, are you kidding me? This one is a romantasy. I don't know what is going on with the female main character. The synopsis is kind of vague with it, but the male main character is a vampire. Oh, and then my final question. This one I did have to pick some repeat answers for because I have the memory of a goldfish. So if a book kept me up too late, longer than like 2 months ago, I don't remember. So House of Earth and Blood, I literally would not allow myself to go to sleep until I finished this book once I was in like the last 300 pages. And I sobbed through, literally, I don't think I stopped crying for like 150 pages straight. I was literally sitting there bawling. It's so good. It's so good. And then I also stayed up until like 1 a.m. last night, getting halfway into Fourth Wing, but I kind of assumed this question was asking like which one you stayed up to finish. So yeah, I guess I think I stayed up pretty late to finish The Love of My Life too. I think. I don't know. Goldfish memory. So yeah, that's all the questions that I have today. Hopefully you enjoyed hanging out with me, talking about books with me. Hopefully you enjoyed my little mini House at the Bottom of a Lake and normal sized You Shouldn't Have Come Here rants. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.